Okay, everybody, we're back. Sitting by the ocean, enjoying the breeze.
A little bit of shake.
It's Saturday,
And a bake, baby.
Saturday, August 13th. Salem, Massachusetts.
Temperature is 79 degrees and breezy. Show them how we living. Turn the camera a little bit. Looks like we're in a freaking park here. I guess we are, but
We are.
we got the ocean.
We got the boats.
We go coast to coast, up and down 95.
So yeah, MsJamette and Ricky Bobby back together again.
Back at it.
And
living free.
been up and down the East Coast chasing critters and nuts.
Pedophiles
and
and
pedophiles.
the whole deal. Holding the line, baby.
So we've had a special request to discuss our experiences with a gentleman everybody knows as Jersey J.
I know as Judas J.
JJ, Jersey J, Judas J. So my story starts because of Ricky. Ricky is my friend. I consider Ricky a friend and part of my tribe. I trust him. Even though we go in and out, it was fate that we both happened to be in Boston area on the same day. It just,
and we picked up just right where we left off. Yeah, JMette and I have a special connection, and she'll always have a special place in my heart because she was the one who, came to my defense. She was my neighbor at the Convoy at the Speedway in Hagerstown, Maryland, and she was the only one who really stood up for me and was giving it to the fake security, DOJ, Dianovich Associates that would not identify themselves and were telling me I had to leave the premises and weren't giving me any reason why, weren't giving me any opportunity to discuss with the organizers, such as Brian, such as Marcus, such as Mike, and JMette had known me, that all the work I had been putting in there for about a month to, just provide whatever services I could to make sure that the convoy was going in a direction towards freedom and actually making some kind of positive change. JMette and I were sort of on the front lines of that battle between the organizers and the people, and we saw very clearly that this was not for we the people.
Early.
The hypocrisy came about, pretty early. I would say we had about 2 weeks where we were happy as clams. It was peachy there, and people were more focused on the community and each other than they were, focusing on the organization.
Power grabbing.
We weren't exactly asking the right questions until we did, and we got a lot of recourse and just were put up walls, and something a lot of people dealt with. And when I started seeing it, I ripped my speakers off the stage where I had been emceeing and DJing and allowing the morning and evening meetings to take place. I ripped those suckers off. I drove this bus up to the top of the hill and kind of took a little hiatus, and they came right up after me the next day. They sent their security, and they tried to say, oh, you got to get off the hill for XYZ, and I said, no, I don't. I said, the owners know me. I said, Lisa, the wife of the owner of the Speedway, said she's okay with this. There have been people up here. I said, I'm not bothering nobody up here. So they left me alone, and then there are a number of things that took place. In particular, what we want to talk about today is our, dealings with Jersey J, aka Judas.
It's really hard to talk just about Jersey J without expanding on the whole experience of the convoy. That's going to be one of the hardest parts, I think. But
yeah,
you're just gonna have to cut and paste, but we can, and the whole story needs to come out, so we want to get into that too.
Well, yeah, we need to build an understanding of how we got where we are now, and but obviously that we have to go back to the start. And so I think this particular story with Jersey J is starts off.
Where does it start for you?
For me, it starts when I first noticed him in our camp. He comes and apparently was set up there first. It doesn't really matter. We're all supposed to be neighbors. But he kind of made a big deal about, other people coming into the camp, and, was running around pretty much like a meth head all day, all night. I thought at first was like, oh, okay, this is a good guy, whatever. He's got a lot of energy, right? And so I'm treating him nice. We're buddy. And actually, the night before I made, I gave that that speech trying to kind of call attention to the fuckery, in so many words, the descent that was taking place. Prior to that, the night before, he was sitting right here in this bus saying, I'm going to support you.
Night.
When he's like, well, we'll make an announcement about, we'll do a tailgate party, and we're going to really, get everybody together and figure out what's going on. He was a major proponent of the reason as to why and obviously if you go back to those speeches, I was, even saying Jersey J, and I are going to be throwing a tailgate party, whatever, and we're gonna let people air out their grievances, kind of a thing. That was the plan. That was the point of that announcement during that morning meeting, and then obviously we know what happened after that. It was quite triggering to these boomers who were so very upset that somebody was trying to have a say and calling attention to the embezzlement that was happening. Now, this is hearsay. We don't want to accuse. This is all accusatory until it's not. But we're just, using
how
our
we were
heads.
Feeling at the time.
Yeah, and assessing the situation, we obviously have these strong feelings about things because we were there. And I think that that's something that, a lot of these people online, not that I really go and read anything much, but they weren't there, and they want to act like they know what's going on.
And we were asking questions and getting shut down at every turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it just started looking fishy at that point.
Yeah, and how about the fate of me walking out? So this was after they kicked me out. We go and stay at a nearby hotel, and as JMsJamette and I are coming out of the room, who's right there walking by but Brian
Brazzi.
And I'm like, what's going on, man? And I was thinking I was on the phone. I was like, you wouldn't believe who I just saw. And he's like slithering away, and then he pokes his head out and says, man, if you want to talk, I'll be down. This is after everything transpires. He's got my number, never reached out. I could send those text messages too. I was very positive, and one thing about that is I had Brian's number like from the start. I had no need to ever reach out to him. If anything, it was him who might need to reach out to me to say, hey, we're not going to do this meeting, or hey, this is how we're doing things today. Never once received any correspondence, so that just goes to show the lack of communication, lack of leadership on his part. I never reached out. Like, there are all these fanboys and girls there that were, like, oh my God, Brian, or oh my God, Saznak. And they were just like, losing sight of, what we're actually there for. And JMsJamette, you can, you probably lose sight sometimes getting caught up in this, craziness. We say it's like a reality TV show. We have all these characters. And, I didn't want to, I almost regret the Ricky Bobby, telling people, call myself Ricky Bobby, because then it gave them people a reason to make a joke and make a big clown show out of it all. I just thought people do call me Ricky Bobby. It's my nickname. But the only reason I brought that to the convoy was because I was like, oh, all these people like Hippie Mama, White Lightning, like, that's weird. And I didn't register till afterwards that
gave you a handle.
It didn't register till afterwards that these people don't want their name to be associated with this. That's why they're using these code names and things. Jersey J, that's, I don't even, his name is Jason fucking something.
I forgot. We're gonna have to look.
And he's not even from Jersey. Dude's from Ohio.
Yeah, he has some ties with Jersey, but guys, he's not from Jersey.
He's committed about 5 felonies in Jersey. That's the only
back
association.
To your experience with Jersey J, though. It's my understanding you guys were in this bus.
Okay, so
having a conversation the night before about what you were going to say at the morning meeting.
Yes.
To the crowd.
He was going to get up after me.
And he was going to back you, and you were going to back him.
Yes, and James can back this up from inside 4 walls. He was in here. You know, there are others that are in here that, you know, could confirm and say, yeah, like that absolutely did happen. Christy is one of them. But yeah, anyways, you know, we had that conversation, that heart to heart. It was like a very emotional thing. And then, you know, the next morning comes about, and, you know, I'm looking to hand the mic off to Jersey J as was planned, and he's nowhere to be found.
Not there.
Oh no, he was there, but he was just playing it right next to. He was playing it right next to, like, you know, those dudes who rushed me, like the Marcuses and the organizers. So here's the thing about Judas J. The dude plays both sides, and, you know, I mean, look, he's here. You know, allegedly, we're saying we believe with the facts that are presented that he's an informant of some sort. You know, he wouldn't be hanging around this much and, you know, making this his whole life if there wasn't something to lose from being a part of it. Like, there's a lot of fishy things. So I don't know what you believe, but, you know, from the evidence that, you know, is before us, I truly believe that he's you know, he was put, you know, kind of in that convoy to maybe report back. It just doesn't seem like the guy is genuinely, you know, trying to be a part of anything, because he's doing this snakily, you know, playing both sides and trying to manipulate, and, you know, and also his rap sheet doesn't help. You know, I don't like to criticize, you know, everybody has a history, but, you know, this is a violent individual, and for him to be given authority in that convoy, and not someone like myself, not that I wanted any kind of authority, but, you know, like, they treated Jersey J with far more respect than they treated me.
Until they dropped him like a hot potato.
Yeah.
And disassociated.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, and then that's just another thing. Like, that should show you
that's
what kind
they
of
did to people.
What kind of people? Yeah, like that was no different with anyone. How they did that.
So then, they escorted you out. That's a whole part of the story, and
so the Dianovich Associates,
security.
They're the armed security that was hired by you know, these organizers to keep the peace, but they weren't keeping it. If anything, they were the disturbance.
They were
tyrants.
They were tyrants.
And so here's the thing about why I, you know, came back. What my intentions were that night that Brandon, you know, was arrested because of the firearm, which is something that should be addressed. I mean, you know, a lot of people there were armed as the constitutional right.
I would guess 90% of the people there were armed.
Of course, I mean, and it's a freedom movement, right. And so the way that they portrayed it and painted it as if he came there to cause some kind of harm. Now, I will say, he did come to me with a little bit too much aggression. He wanted me to just drive the bus in and be this Trojan horse, and, you know, he came to me with that plan of make a spectacle. I was ready to just hit the Smoky Mountains and be out of there, but I did think that it was important for me to show that that this protest that I had been a part of was no longer. I did not want to associate myself really with the organizers. I wanted to show that I was still going to promote the message on my own, that is never going to die in my spirit. You know, you don't need an organization to associate yourself with in order to protest. You know, you can live your life in protest, as we just did with the Satanic Temple. And you know, if they're going to require vaccination info, this, that, and the other, my mindset used to be, well, I'll show them the fake vax card. Now, fuck them. They're not getting my business. You know, especially an organization that claims to be about freedom, religious freedom, and then to turn around and say, nope, you have to have this injection in your body and put this mask over your face in order to do business with us. I don't think so. I don't think that's, you know, that's not an America I want to leave for my children, my grandchildren, etc. It's and that's what we're fighting for, right? We're fighting for the future generations, and you know, we're trying to keep our eyes open. And a lot of people, you know, are being led astray by characters like Jersey J and Oreo and First Responder, and these are not people who who are doing any kind of real journalistic
They're not
efforts.
doing journalism, folks. It's not journalism.
It's not happening. And so you have to do your own research, and if you really care, put boots on the ground like MsJamette here. Like, you know, don't sit online and act like you know what's going on when you're miles and miles away from any of this tomfoolery as it seemed to become. I mean, we've lost sight of what we're actually protesting,
what the mission
right?
was.
We've started protesting each other, and that's exactly what they want. Like, it's why it's another thing. The organizers, you know, we have reason to believe that they are Freemasons and were essentially put into place to take this convoy and sabotage it and drive it into the ground because, of course, the government didn't want to see another Ottawa Part 2. And that was the plan. I mean, I drove this rig March 1st to DC, ready to park my shit, handcuff myself to the rig, and somebody else handcuffed to their rig. I thought that's how we were getting down. That's how Buzz thought we were getting down. He drove his bus March 1st.
He didn't have much to lose, he felt. So.
No, and I was so pissed off by, you know, the fact that I was forced out of my living, like what I did for a living, from videography to DJing up here in Boston, Massachusetts, and just New England in general. You know, if you weren't vaccinated, if you weren't willing to mask up, you weren't working, you know. And I'm not someone who believes in taking handouts from the government, so you know, it was a difficult time, and you know, of course, it was something that I was willing to fall on the sword, I guess, so to speak. It was the one thing ever. Like, I've never been political. I don't even think this really should be a political thing.
It wasn't supposed to be.
But it's turned sideways.
And it wasn't supposed to be religious, folks. It wasn't a religious message. What it has turned into, 1776, is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's gross. But, so, back to the night that you came back with your bus, and it was at the gate, and everybody calls it the saga of Ricky Bobby. Is
Shake
that
and
what
bake, baby.
Shake and bake. I mean, it was interesting, wasn't it?
It was.
Did you have any dealings with Jersey J that night?
Well, so in your video that we should mix in with this, you can see shots of Jersey J lurking around, and what, you know, we don't have clear evidence of it, but again, this is something that, because I was there in the camp, I have, you know, special insight, I guess you could say, into certain situations, such as I remember Brandon and Jersey J almost bonding, like, you know, connecting over the fact
Just
that they
real
carry...
quick, the background on Brandon. He's the young man that got arrested that night at the gate for having a weapon on his person.
So he was in the camp. You know, we were all in camp together under the hill. What did we call it over there?
Freedom Hill.
Freedom Hill.
And
yeah.
I called it the Anarchy Camp.
Yeah.
I was camped next to the Anarchy Camp.
So yeah, we were all camped up there together, and when shit was all hunky dory, right? Brandon and Jersey J were, you know, kind of connecting over the fact that they had the same firearm, and you know, and that. Oh wow, you know, isn't it cool that, you know, we you know, that, you know, blah blah blah. And so of course Jersey J's got this knowledge that Brandon's most likely armed. And so, you know, what I believe, watching Jersey J run around with that bulletproof vest over his chest, stirring shit and assaulting women, you know, in between all of that, he was informing the cops that Brandon had a firearm. And that's the only reason I believe that the cops asked Brandon, "Are you armed, sir?" Which he responded, "Yes, I am," which is a constitutional right to be armed. And so, yeah, that whole thing was, you know, sort of orchestrated in a sense to, it took the attention away from what I came there to do. I don't blame Brandon for that. It's Jersey J who really threw that wrench into things.
It took the message off. Hey, there's something going on in this organization that we don't have the freedom to speak. We don't have the freedom to move about in and out of the facility even. You know, we don't have the freedom to ask questions.
No.
And so what Jay did in that instance, in my opinion, is what you just said. He took the focus off of your message to the people that, look, guys, there's something wrong here. When I get escorted out by armed guard for speaking,
who won't identify themselves as well, which
who
is
won't
another
identify
thing.
themselves.
I refused to leave under their command because they weren't identifying themselves. I said, you could be anybody. How do I know that you're security? And so they wouldn't identify, and so, you know, I waited for the police to come. And if I really wanted to take it, I really should have just stayed and waited for them to get a trespass, because it would have been up to the owners at the end of the day, who knew Ricky Bobby and knew, like, you know, his side of the story, and that I wasn't there to cause shit. So, I mean, who knows how it would have gone at the end of the day. I didn't need to be thrown into jail, so I just, you know, got up out of there. And then I, you know, did the other legal decision of parking outside of the gate when everybody wanted me to be the Trojan horse and drive on in. But yeah, that's one thing you said was trying to take the attention away from not only like what I was saying, but what Brandon was saying about the embezzlement that was happening.
Right.
And so it wasn't just Jersey J, it was Oreo, it was, who else was really bad that night? Oreo was really bad. If you pull up the video,
First responder was horrible that night.
So yeah, that's an important thing.
Oreo was horrible.
I had to ask first responder
to turn on his video.
To turn on the video. Yeah.
They all came up there to a hullabaloo without their streams on.
Yep.
Without their streams
and there I am on top of the bus, and I'm like, yo, like, ain't you guys gonna do like what you're here to do? Like, aren't you gonna, you know, get the side of the story?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's Ricky Bobby standing on top of his bus. You know, why aren't you hitting record? What's going on, boys? Got some content for you.
Some narcissistic man around here, I swear.
No, it wasn't. That's not what it was about.
I know. It was a message, and they're supposed to be independent journalists, but they live stream these yahoos all day long talking about their trucks, and the real struggles of like freedom are not being addressed.
No.
Or you know, where's the money going?
And
we're out here, we have no water, we have no propane, we're freezing to death. Where's the money going?
Yeah.
That's what people were asking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since then, have you had any interaction with Jay?
No, and James and I, you know, left on, you know, not the best of terms. You know, I was real upset, you know, after everything that transpired. James had been somebody who I met. You know, a lot of people think that we came together to start shit or whatever. I met him at the Convoy. Like the first day there, right? I like tripped over a tarp, and it was him underneath.
Sleeping?
And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, my friends left, and I wanted to stay, but all I got is this tarp. So, you know, I let him stay in the bus because, you know, that was the right thing to do. And, you know, we got along, and he's a wannabe boogaloo, and I'm not. And he and Brandon, you know, are associated with this organization called the Boogaloo, it's another thing that people try to demonize. I mean, their whole message is to protect the people. Like in situations where there, you know, may be a riot that takes place, they're there to defend the people, the innocents, you know, and they show the presence in the Hawaiian shirts apparently, so that the cops understand that they're going to be held responsible, not just with the legal system, but, you know, instant responsibility, and you know, in terms of, you know, if you're going to start going after innocents, you know, if you're going to turn this into Tiananmen Square, we're going to fight back.
They explained to me too, the Boogaloo boys, that they had been getting requests to come to Hagerstown from people inside of Hagerstown to investigate.
Yeah.
And that they were concerned that there were abuses going on, and that they were also there to help anybody get out that wanted to get out and wasn't able to for whatever reason, because if you listen to the stories that are coming out now, people were stranded, people were, you know.
I know firsthand. Do you remember Dane, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dane was a gentleman, elderly gentleman from California who had come. He brought the flag. He brought that gigantic flag they unveiled a few times, and he paid for that and was told he'd be reimbursed. It was $3,000 to have that flag travel with us, and he never received any payment. He was luckily being put up by a sponsor of some sort, but I gave him $100, and it was a good thing I did because he had to go to urgent care, I guess, the next morning, and that was the only way he could pay for it. So, yeah, no, there were absolutely people there who, were promised or were told. I mean, and
we'll help you. We'll take care of you.
Give
us all
financial.
your resources, and we're family. No. As soon as we're done, we drop you like a hot potato.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was, and it's unfortunate because it seems as though they became the exact thing that we're fighting against, right? Like it was just hypocritical.
Tyrannical. It was tyrannical.
Yeah, the
so
tyrants.
So while I have you, I know it's about Jay, but while I have you, in this opportunity, what else do you want to address about the convoy?
That I feel as though it should be a learning opportunity for anyone who is interested in protests and who is interested in some of the causes of dissent in this country. There is an extreme amount of paranoia, and so to see that firsthand, gave me, I think it gave me like some peace of mind because I understood, oh wow, like. This is maybe some things that I, trip about conspiratorially is maybe not, it could be too much. Because, for example, people were calling me like Antifa, and they're like, this kid was put in as a Fed, blah, blah, blah. And, that's obviously just not true. I wish it were. That would be cool. I mean, that would be like some kind of spy op, but no, not to say there weren't people there that were put in place by the government, whether it was for January 6th, their involvement, and they were strong-armed into being informants for, Trump fans or for the community of J6ers. So it was a lot of confusion because you didn't know people's intentions, but I'm just happy to met someone with very similar intentions, pure of heart, and who is not going to take shit and continues to ask questions instead of just, subscribing to an organization and saying they can do no wrong, they can do no harm because there's this message. Well, fucking be about it, Like, talk is cheap. And
have you ever accidentally joined a cult?
Yeah, with the convoy.
Any other one?
No. What about you?
Oh yeah. Called Christianity. But it's just specific churches, it depends. So I have news for you. I meant to tell you before we started recording, but it might as well come out now. Remember we talked about stolen valor and possibly Jersey J was stolen valor?
Yeah, well, that's a bold accusation, so we had to have proof of it.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I said. I never heard him say he was in the military.
He just would wear the military clothing.
And I heard him make statements where he would allude to being ex-military.
Well, and there's that case that we can pull up, that Defender of Ants will pull up about, he was found with several firearms. These were like, Army-issued pistols and things that he had stolen from someone he was apparently giving care to. So that's something too where who knows if he was taking them out and saying, yeah, look, these are my, I got these wherever. Who knows? So
yeah.
But yeah, he
sure tried to wear the battle rattle and talk about the oaths that he's made and how he was put somewhere. But the news is Defender of Ants had him in the car and did an interview the other day.
Oh, wow.
And asked him about military service.
Yep.
So, what I got out of the blah, 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 blah was that he didn't even make it through basic training. He did join, but he didn't make it through basic training. But then he says he got kicked out a year and a half later. So I'm not sure why it took so long for him to get kicked out. And he said it was medical and other stuff. And he just kept trying to, gloss over the other stuff. So Jersey J does not have veteran status, which he claimed in that interview. Anybody can look it up. Defender of Ants, interview with Jersey J, claims that
if you don't make it through basic training, you don't.
That the government stole his right to military benefits and to claim veteran status.
Well, if you're dishonorably discharged, then you don't have any.
He didn't even get a DD 214. He says. So I don't know how long he was really in.
And JMette's she's a veteran. If people don't know, so.
Well, my very first video is calling out the fake vets in the movement. So it's up, it's there. Pluck the patriarchy. But yeah, so that's the story on Jay's military. Is from his mouth what I can get.
Yeah. So well. I mean, we don't need to get him on that, people. He's clearly shown his cards, and decide for yourself. Obviously, if you think that he's trying to play both sides, and I don't know what his intentions are. I mean, it seems as though he's an informant of some sort. Just what I believe.
So my experience with Jay, I guess, starts. I watched his stream a few times. I knew he was camped next door, but I had watched his streams because I was watching all the streams, trying to get all the information I could. I wanted to know what was going on from every angle, every minute of the day.
She was tuned in.
I was trying to be tuned in, but it was so cold that I wasn't out there walking around all day. It was cold and nasty.
You weren't putting too many boots on the ground.
Anyway, I had unfollowed Jay and decided that I didn't want anything to do with him, even though I knew he was camped right next to me. And then after I met Ricky and we started talking, he thought Jay was okay. They had been hanging out a little bit, were camped together. And so one day I went over and tried to have a talk with Jay about some of the issues, just having some of my frustrations about not getting questions answered. Just wondering about the way things were going. Why were people disappearing in the middle of the night? Why was security the way it was? Just saying and because he acted like he was somebody. Like he was in charge of security.
They gave him some sort of authority over our camp.
Some kind, and
at least he claimed.
He claimed yeah. So anyway, he's like, if you have something to talk about, come over and talk to me. I'll help you. So I went and tried to talk to him. And the conversation did not go well. And I ended up just standing up and walking away and just declaring that I would not have anything to do with Jersey J again. So the night of the saga of Ricky Bobby that he was at the gate on the bus, I was up there videoing and asking questions. Again, asking questions. And Jay started talking junk about everybody. Anybody he could. He was just whispering in everybody's ear. Big Tom, GWT 333. We're on you too. I gotcha. Talk smack about me. You don't even know me, man. Anyway, he kept diving in and out of the crowd, talking smack and then diving out of the crowd. But then he started talking about me. Talking about how I've been sitting back there taken from the convoy and never doing anything. And, okay, my people know me. I was there on my own dollar. I was feeding myself. I was buying my own gas. I think the convoy bought me a tank and a half of gas. For how many months was I with them?
Which is another thing, just how difficult they made it for people
to get reimbursed.
And those are prideful people, of course.
To get supplies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more that will come out about my experiences with the convoy, but Jersey J. So anyway, he started talking about me and how I was a grifter. And I just said, Jersey J, you're a liar. And I had my camera up, close to his face. And I was following him around while he was talking about me. You're a liar. And he grabbed my hand and grabbed my phone and pushed me back. Well, of course, nobody saw it. The police didn't see it. None of the streamers saw it.
James's video, you can see it.
My video saw it, and James's behind four walls. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
James behind four walls. His video sees it. I didn't make a big deal about it that night because that wasn't the focus. The focus was, how are we going to get to the bottom of these abuses that are occurring? People being escorted out by armed people. So then I'm watching Jersey J still the rest of the time. And there's hours and hours of video that could be watched to find out when he talks to the police. But I do believe that he snitched out Brandon. I believe that. I can't guarantee it. I just believe it the way he was acting. So that night,
it was an unconstitutional search, and so what would cause that? It probably was like what suspicion did the police have? Like they're not able to ask questions without suspicion. There's no reason to be suspicious, other than if somebody were to tell them, this person's armed. They weren't going around asking everybody, "Are you armed? Are you armed?"
No, before that, the police were so cool. I was praising them. They were doing their job. They were being careful. They weren't trying to violate anybody's rights.
No,
they were trying to keep the peace. They were standing back watching, probably internally laughing their asses off at this tomfoolery that was going on.
The start of the streamer wars.
How do you have a freedom Yeah, you want to talk about who really started the streamer wars?
I don't even stream shit.
Started it, and he's not even a streamer. But anyway, so that night, after all that settled down, Brandon got arrested, Ricky went off, everybody went off. I was walking back to my trailer, and I went into the camp. It was a community camp, okay, where Jersey J and Jersey Jen were staying. And my friend, I thought he was a friend, Steve, I thought I saw him sitting in the camp, and I went over there to talk to him, and it wasn't him. But as soon as I got in the camp, Jay and Jen started screaming at me, yelling threats, telling me to get out of their camp, blah, blah, blah. And I was on the phone, so I just ignored them and kept walking to my trailer. And then, let's see, what else happened between me and Jay?
Well, so I just want to pick it up real quick with the streamers, like with the streamer wars. Yeah. So it's essentially, yeah, like when that started to take place, you had all of these people who, for some reason, couldn't say one bad thing about the
Convoy.
Yeah, and even Zad's channel, she deleted
won't ask questions.
Yeah, she was streaming and she deleted that stream, didn't she?
Yeah,
it's not.
She was streaming that night.
So she streamed that night, and she was actually really the only one who asked, got my side of the story. She came up to me and was like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "Chicken bake, baby."
Yeah, she did. She asked me
so
too.
She's cool, but what wasn't cool was that she deleted that, probably because I don't know, my assumption is somebody told her, "Look, we don't want this to be out there." But if you're a journalist and if you're supposed to be not biased, then you're going to show everything that happens.
The Convoy had already started controlling the narrative by then, and we saw that. And we called and Defender of Ants called the streamers on it, and we called the streamers on it.
So Alex Glasgow, he's another one. People should put some pressure on him because he does have an interview with James and I that we did right here in the bus immediately afterwards, and he was just trying to get us. He was trying to bait us into saying that yes, the Convoy is embezzling money. That's all he cared about, was trying to get us to say that, and we said we're not going to speak on that. Like, that's all hearsay. I was like, why are you even asking about that? We're here to talk about something different. And so he has that footage. People should pressure him. And if these are journalists, if these people that claim that they're trying to cover the events, why would he not release that? Like, why would he not put that out? And why would he try to put us in a situation where legally in that situation, if we had said, yeah, they're embezzling money, then maybe it's a case of defamation, you know? Like, that's what I was thinking. It seemed as though he was trying to do. Now, Alex Glasgow, let's see if you can defend yourself there, buddy, if you're going to release the tape. But, yeah, a lot of these streamers that claim to be journalists don't know a fucking thing about journalism.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
I
what
don't
the hell?
understand.
What the hell? And so, I apologize for not streaming. I don't apologize because I was
That's
not there to
your gig.
stream.
That
and
wasn't your gig.
and from the start,
wasn't
you
my
had
gig.
people like I was DJing, I was playing music, I was keeping a vibe, I was trying to inform people. You know, and from the beginning, you had the first responder up my ass saying, "Oh, the music, man, you know, it's causing the stream to go down." Then mute it while I'm playing music. I'm not here for your stream, buddy. Like, you know, like, that's not what this is about. Like, and that's all it's about for them is how can I continue to bring in money from this circus? And they don't care if it turns into a circus. It's better for them.
So that camp, the anarchy camp next door, it could be a loud camp, okay? There were times when there was music almost 24 hours. It wasn't just Ricky Bobby. He put his speaker up on the hill. It wasn't just him. When he was sleeping, there were other people up playing music and blowing horns and talking and going crazy. And I'm an old lady. I like to sleep at night. And I'm there camped, you know, next door. But we were in a freedom movement. How do you go to a freedom movement and complain about the behavior of others? That wasn't my place, and you know, whatever. Let people do what they do.
Yeah, and so they're being blatantly disrespectful. And, you know, Jersey J was running around being blatantly disrespectful because there was that instance when during the day, Mikolos was barking
at him. And
this was midday.
And he was sleeping. And in my opinion, he had been up for like 3 days and 3 nights.
Oh, he was
I don't know that for sure. But from what I saw of him, he was awake all night because I heard his voice. He was awake all day because he was streaming. He was streaming all day and all night. I think he was up for 3 days. And then in the middle of the afternoon, he comes up and threatens my dog for barking. And then a few days later, he used his electronic car. I was standing there talking to another lady. I was getting ready to leave. And the reasons I left the convoy: Jersey J, armed security, making it feel like Gestapo, not identifying themselves, escorting people out for any reason, at any time of the day or night, trying to stick their heads in my truck every time I drove through the gate.
Oh yeah, they had their heads up my fucking.
Yeah, having people lurking around at night, investigating vehicles, and the fact that we couldn't get any questions answered from any higher ups. Nobody would answer any questions. So I was on my way out talking to another lady, and Jersey J came driving his remote control car right up next to us and spun out the tires and spit rocks at us. And Miklos took off chasing that car, and Jersey started yelling at me to come and get my dog. I told him, fuck you. I said, fuck you.
Yeah,
and
so in conclusion, fuck you, Jersey J.
So
fuck you, Brian Brazzi. Fuck you, Marcus. I kind of like Mike, but fuck you too, Mike.
No, Mike is, what was Mike talking about lately? Oh, yeah. He talked on the G stream about hitting Marcus.
These guys
they're
not fucking leaders, okay? And, you know.
They want to be cowboys. They want to do the old school cowboy stuff.
They want to have a pissing contest.
And then that's what happens. Boy, when we were there at Hagerstown, the testosterone was unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's why I decided, fuck this, you know? Because you know, I could have stayed up right, you know, I could have camped up right outside of that motherfucker.
Yeah,
What?
there was
For what?
public property right there,
For
and
what?
there were people that offered us their driveways.
It was
He
too
could
far
have stayed.
gone.
He
It
could have
was too
stayed.
far gone.
But at that point, yeah, it was obvious that it was falling apart.
The people that thought were thinking for themselves were long gone. Like that
Right.
place had already been pretty cleared
They
out.
chased them away. Yeah, anybody who had half a brain and didn't just follow the narrative, and they had smart people there in the beginning, guys. They had doctors, lawyers, real estate agents.
Okay.
They
But
had
Dr. Lock 'em up, like, dude, not helping.
no,
just
but
yelling,
there were
lock 'em up.
people out in the
No, I know.
audience.
There were a variety
real
of people, yeah.
with real skills and ideas. And okay, now I'm getting excited. It's not about Jay anymore. It's about, look what you have left. You have the 1776 pedo protecting handmade utopia tale, whatever these people are left. Go home. It's over. Please go home.
Ended a long time ago. And so until Ricky Bobby and JMette create our own convoy, just relax, okay?
Just relax.
Take a walk in the woods. Go to Smoky Mountains. That's what I did. Everybody needs to detox from this shit.
Take some time, regroup, figure out what
Especially
you really
you,
believe
defender
in.
of ants. Take a fucking chill pill. Good Lord.
All right, I love you. We'll talk some more later.
Peace.
Bye.